I have loved that you've been sharing with these with me this morning, your favourite fictional characters from books and shows and cartoons and movies. And for sometimes they might just be those ones that entertain you, but sometimes you might resonate with something a little deeper. Maybe that there's something in those characters that you relate to. Psychology expert Dr. Jo Lukens is with me. Good morning.
Good morning, Susan.
Who is your favourite fictional character?
I have so many, but it's interesting. So one from my past, very much my childhood, has cropped up for me this week because I went and saw Alice by Heart at the theatre, which is on here in Townsville.
Yep.
And it's a remake it's a different version of Alice in Wonderland. So I'm going to go today because it's topical for me.
Okay.
Alice from Alice in Wonderland.
Lovely. Thank you very much for that. So how do fictional characters influence our emotions and thoughts?
They influence us greatly, and like you say, whether it's something that we're reading or something that we're viewing or hearing, they really take us on a journey. And I think it's the emotional engagement that we have that can, at times, these things are simply just entertainment for us, and so it doesn't have to be any more than that. But sometimes what we find is that it becomes a reflection in our own lives and influences how we think and how we feel about different situations and relationships.
Yes, you're able to sometimes put yourself into that situation and think, what would I do? Would I do the same thing? Or
yeah, that's right. And gosh, some of the fiction that we've read over the years, you can choose your own adventure literally and make those decisions. But yeah, we can certainly play out the reality of the fictional character through their stories.
So what are those psychological processes that allow us to have that connection?
So that point when you connect with a character, and you'll know it when it's happened because you get towards the end of the book or the end of the movie and you won't want it to finish. So that process is actually called transportation, and that's where we become really absorbed in the narrative of that particular world. We empathise with the characters, we experience their emotions and perspectives, and it can change the way that we think and how we feel about the world around us.
So can it impact our behaviour?
Like I said, for some of us, it's 2 hours to watch a movie or a couple of hours to read a book, and it's nothing more than that. But it might help influence us in terms of choices that we make, qualities that we admire in others. You see some of the blockbuster films, the one about a doll that many children have played with over the years. So we see how that changes fashion and it changes decisions. And so we probably shouldn't be surprised that we can see that these fictional characters can almost lead to a little bit of perhaps personal growth for us and changes in how we interact with the world.
Yes. Are you hearing from psychology expert Dr. Jo Lukens? How do these fictional characters help us explore more different aspects of who we think we are?
It's like our safe space, isn't it? They're doing it for us and we can almost vicariously live through what they're doing. Maybe the characters give us a better understanding of ourselves and our values. I always think that if I watch, say, a movie usually, and there's a character there that I really don't like, I may stop and reflect, what is it about them I don't like? Because that says a lot about me. So they become a tool or someone to connect with, but it helps tell us a lot about what we value, what we don't value, what we do and we don't like.
So in what ways can fictional characters influence our social attitudes? I guess we saw that a little bit last year with Barbie.
Yes, that's who I was referring to before. I didn't know if I was allowed. Can I say Barbie on the ABC? But that's right, isn't it? So it opens us up to different worlds. It exposes us to different cultures and experiences and viewpoints. It can help us to develop much better empathy around different characters, and particularly people who are different from us. Those opportunities for us to be more inclusive and tolerant are potentially there, as well as making potentially people more divisive as well. So it can go in either direction, but let's focus on the positive for today.
Let's do that. So what role do fictional characters play in shaping our moral and ethical values, to continue that discussion?
Yeah, again, when we see behaviours, whether we see it on the screen or whether we read it in the passages, it can cause us to reflect and to think about where that sits for us. Is that something we would do? Is it something we would not do? For us to observe how characters navigate through these situations, it does challenge us if we want what our own moral framework look like and how to be inspired around the decisions that we make. So these fictional characters can play an important role in our own identity.
It allows us to look at ourselves without looking at ourselves.
Yes, they become the tool for us to do that. Yeah, it's interesting when you think of it from that perspective.
Yes.
I'm sure there's some people listening today going, I just read a book. I
just liked them.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you very much for that, psychology expert, Dr. Jo Lukens. Thank you for sharing that today.